Takeoff fails from my series Weekly Dose of Aviation. In this video, we've got planes taking off late, collisions, fires, and more. First up is this RX Airbus A340 that barely managed to take off before the end of the runway. This Boeing 747 destroying the terrain next to the runway while taking off. The runway recently had new sod put down next to it, and that was no match for the powerful 747. This Boeing 757 was taking off from Spain when the right-hand engine suffered repeated compressor stalls, causing flames to shoot out of it and forcing the plane to divert to a nearby airport. The plane later landed safely. This DHL Airbus A300 was taking off from Amsterdam when it suffered a bird strike. Pilots contacted the tower, but decided to continue the flight and landed safely at its destination. This Boeing 747 was about to take off from Miami, but as it started its takeoff roll, the engine failed, resulting in smoke and an aborted takeoff. This overloaded plane used every inch of the runway and barely took off at the last second. This Boeing 757 was taking off when it had an engine failure, causing a fire in the engine. Fire crews quickly responded to the scene, and this happened at John Wayne Airport in California. This Airbus A330 was taking off when at the last second a flock of birds struck the plane, causing damage to the engine. The engine started vibrating, so the pilots declared an emergency and had to return to the airport. The plane then had to land while overweight since it was supposed to burn its fuel from Dublin to Chicago. The C5M Galaxy took off too slow, forcing the Airbus A330 behind it to go around. This Boeing 737 took off but turned too much, causing the bank angle alarm to go off.
Bank angle.
This Boeing 737 was too heavy and could barely take off before the end of the runway. This F-15 was taking off when suddenly it had a compressor stall, causing flames to shoot out of the engine. Luckily, the pilot could still abort the takeoff and no one was injured. This Boeing 747 struck a bird while taking off from an airport in India. This Boeing 737 had a tail strike while taking off from Iceland, as you can hear by the distinct sound. In most cases, the plane would return back to the airport, but in this case, the pilots decided to continue to their destination. This Airbus A330 hit a light pole while taxiing. Even though this wasn't during takeoff, it was close to it and resulted in minor damage, but luckily no one was injured. And those are just some of the takeoff failures